Twist fans have been thirsting for official merch since the game's release, but there was not a drop of water in sight until recently, when Hot Topic released these t-shirts. And I gotta say, this was not the best soft launch, both design-wise and promotion-wise. But due to being perched for so long, fans bought up stock lightning fast. I could not believe my eyes when this chibi shirt dropped and immediately was out of stock online. We are truly rabid beasts, but I digress. It seems like due to this overwhelming interest that Twist is testing whether other merch types can be successful, like bags, cardigans, wallets, hoodies, etc. So today I have sacrificed 52 of my own doubloons to bring you all a bag review. That's right, this video is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, so you'll be getting my actual thoughts and opinions on this particular piece of merch so that you can perhaps make a more informed decision on whether or not you want to spend your cold hard cash on it. After all, there are a lot more exciting merch types out now, like the Grim hoodie, which is going for a relatively similar price point. So if you're trying to decide between the two, perhaps this could be of help. Now, the bag itself. From a purely visual perspective, this bag is beautiful. There are a couple of really nice details, like the golden dorm crests on the sides, the coffin pattern on the exterior drop pocket, and of course, the dark mirror holding all the base arts of our favorite house wardens. The front straps seem sturdy, and the gold buckles, as well as magnetic clasps, are decent. The magnetic pieces have this extra lip, which more securely holds the flap in place when you're moving around. Lifting the exterior flap reveals a little Grim printed above the exterior pocket, a cheeky little detail that I found kind of funny. The back is blank, but the hardware on the back straps is the same quality as the hardware on the front, and you have your metal official logo here as well. Overall, the shape and style of the bag is decent. Despite having a few different motifs, the visual design doesn't feel too busy to me. Everything seems to mesh very well. And compared to the merch that had released prior, this was leaps and bounds above where visual design is concerned. But most folks aren't buying a bag just to look at it, so what kind of carrying capacity are we working with and how well do the materials hold up? The bag itself is roughly 11-ish inches tall, 9.5 inches wide, and 3.5 inches deep, with the exterior pocket offering about another inch-ish of space in depth, with its width coming in at about 7.5 inches, according to my haphazard measurements at least. The official site lists the dimensions as 9 by 3.5 by 10 inches, so take that for what you will. The straps on the flap can be adjusted, so if you are hauling something a little bulkier, you can get some extra clearance by adjusting these. However, be careful when doing so, since the lowest setting isn't particularly secure if there isn't any tension being applied to the flap. The main compartment can hold 3 whole liter bottles, but they are a little snug. The actual capacity might be a little bit more than 3 liters, something like 4 or 5. I'm not entirely sure. Spatial awareness is not my thing, but I figured stuffing these seltzer bottles in here would be good enough of a visual to explain this space. There is a pocket in this main compartment, but it's very tight to the lining of the bag, rendering it kinda useless unless you have some important pieces of paper or something similarly small and thin. I honestly didn't know it existed until I was filming for this video. You can get like a thin notepad in here or maybe some pens or something similar, but whatever's gonna go in there is going to be snug. Perhaps with time, the pocket might stretch out, but given that the linen used in the lining is a coarser material that doesn't feel very stretchy, I don't know how useful the pocket will be long term. The exterior drop pocket, however, is spacious, so you can fit more things here. However, it's also wide open, so whatever you do put there can fall out or be pilfered decently easily. As long as you aren't flipping your bag upside down, you likely aren't going to have things fall out, but it is really easy to reach a hand in here even when the bag is on your back. So I wouldn't put anything valuable on this exterior pocket, including the tweels, even though they fit so well here, which makes me question if this pocket wasn't designed to hold newies. Instead, I've been using this space for things like tissue packs, pens, or small items that I don't mind losing. It's got the same exact lining as the main pocket, but it doesn't have any additional pockets inside. Depending on what you are hauling, the bag will do decently well. As long as you aren't trying to take a DSLR with you, you're gonna have decent room. However, I could not for the life of me get my camera in here in a decent position. I could have taken the lens off and then it would have fit better, but I didn't feel like doing that because I have other bags where I can just stick it in and go. Due to the awkward size of the camera, the bag was bulging in a way that made it almost impossible to close without having adjusted the straps. So that's something to consider as well if you generally carry around interestingly shaped objects for your day-to-day. If you're just taking like a wallet and keys and maybe a notebook and some pens, you're going to be fine. However, you're not going to be able to fit nearly as much as you think you can in this main slot. If I had put my Switch in here with its carrying case, it would have taken up a good like third to half of the bag, and then I would not have had that much space in the rest of the pocket. But like I said, a wallet, notebook, pencil case, keys, phone, and perhaps some newies will fit no problem. Naturally, there is no zipper on top to protect these things. It is an open pocket. However, the flap is much harder to deal with up here at the top than it is for the exterior pocket on the front of the bag. So you don't have too many issues here with people being able to stick their grimy little fingers in, especially when there is tension on the closed flap. The way the straps connect to the magnets as well also kind of helps prevent theft a bit, I would assume, since you have to pull the strap down to get the lip of the top clasp loose from the base of the bottom clasp, and then you can pull the strap up and off of the base. From my experience, getting this thing open is kind of annoying, but that is a good thing where potential theft is concerned. One other thing I'd like to touch on in this section is the pleather or polyurethane quality. It's not great, it's not terrible, but it is something you do not want to scratch. The material itself is rough, or I guess dry would be a better word. It's not smooth like a Loungefly or an actual leather boot. And you can tell that it's a bit thin, so any cuts or scrapes probably are going to reveal that underlayer and be hard to correct. However, this was all just first impressions of the bag. Impressions based on its first few days in my possession without any actual use. So it would be a little bit silly for me to claim that it is or isn't worth it without having actually tested it. So I took my bag out for a week of fun. We went to get beer together, went to a winery together, a few other general shopping places, and finally a small convention. Because I do not wish to get doxxed, these are the only photos you are getting of the locations I went to. However, I did use the bag consistently for about a week, taking note of what I liked and disliked. Pros: people will recognize that you are a Twist fan. People will ask where you got the bag and strike up a conversation about Twist, though this could also be a con if you are more of an Edia. It is fairly lightweight overall, even when packed with miscellaneous items. It's the perfect size to store 8x10 prints, which I realize is a very niche use case, but I thought it was worth mentioning. It is a bit cheaper than some other mini backpacks, and of course it has Twist theming, and the design, in my opinion, is much better than the t-shirts we got previously. Cons, though: you really can't hold too many things or things that have an awkward shape in this bag, as previously discussed. It is rather difficult to get the straps of the bag open if it is not sitting on a table or other surface, which is great for theft protection, but a pain in the butt when you just want your wallet. I've personally found the backpack straps to be a little uncomfortable, and there's not really a good place to tuck them away if you want to use the top handle instead. One thing I thought was kind of weird is that the buckles on the front straps are consistently open if there is no tension, and these little spikes, teeth, whatever they're called, they get stuck on everything, and it is very annoying. The front pocket also is 100% pickpocketable. It is. And due to this, I do not believe that this is a travel safe bag for, international travel, which is another kind of niche use case, I suppose. But it even like at a theme park, if you aren't careful when putting your bag in a locker or on like the side when you go on a coaster or other attraction, you may lose some things from that front pocket. And weirdly enough, you may get judged for buying the bag by people who know what Twist is. This happened to me on multiple occasions at the convention. People would point and snicker, and then when they realized I was paying attention to them, they would just turn away. After all of that, what is my final takeaway from this bag? Is it worth the price tag? Is it a worthy piece of Twist merch? I think from a design and collector's perspective, this is a very fair piece of merch. The bag design is gorgeous. It does look really pretty, and it is Twist branded. So if you absolutely have to have a Twist branded bag, you can pick up this piece. From a usability perspective, if you are just going on casual day-to-day things, it'll do fine. The only real concern is that front pocket. Things may or may not fall out. Things may or may not disappear from it, depending, of course, on where you are and the type of activity that you're engaging in. For me personally, I do not like this bag. I do not like the usability of it. I kind of hate that I can't secure anything and I can't travel with a lot of stuff. I could barely fit my camera in here, which is a problem. I took my Loungefly, my Chippendale Loungefly, to 3 separate countries, and I was able to put in my DSLR, my Azul Nui, a notebook, a pen, my passports, my wallets, an extra shirt, my sunglasses, my headphones, some snacks. I was able to put so much crap in that bag, and it is of the same size. It's very bizarre to me. I could barely put the camera in this specific bag, and I cannot use that front pocket for anything substantial. That to me, for me personally, is a huge issue. I do like it. I don't regret getting it. It is a nice piece of Twist merch. It's just not going to be my go-to bag kinda ever. It's very much just going to be a collector's piece for me that's going to sit on a shelf and look pretty and be upkept here and there to make sure it doesn't fall apart. So I would say, as an art piece, as a collectible, fine. For day-to-day use, meh, maybe. International travel or any sort of heavy use, absolutely not. That's where I would fall on this bag after having used it for about a week, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, we have very interesting and perhaps even more worthwhile merch that literally just dropped this weekend. We have a Grimm hoodie, we have a varsity jacket, which design is kind of disappointing to me because I wish that sweater design was kind of what the varsity jacket was, as if it was a varsity jacket for Night Raven College, not for Twisted Wonderland specifically, but I digress. Maybe at some point in the future that'll happen. We have the sweatshirts. We have all sorts of stuff now that's at a very similar price point that I think could be more worthwhile for folks if they want something Twisted Wonderland, especially the cardigan. This thing is gorgeous. So while I can't fully recommend the bag, I do think that the Twist merch that's coming out is improving, and that's a very good sign. If it continues to do so, then we may have a much more worthwhile bag appearing in the future, and we may have some more interesting and unique pieces of merch that we can collect. But all of this, of course, is my personal opinion based on my own experiences and what I personally value out of a bag. So let me know down below if you think that this piece is worth it. Are you going to be picking up one if it's available in your region? Do you already have it? Are you skipping it? Or do you have any other thoughts about this merch line? Please let me know with a comment down below. And if you could also let me know if this sort of review was helpful, I would appreciate that too. But before you go, as always, I have to remind you that you're amazing and I hope you have a wonderful day.